Well, Linda, you're a very naughty girl.
What do you know?
Oh, I know a lot. I've got this kind of intuitive side, but you're a very naughty girl this week. You've been coming in for pelters from everyone this week.
Well, let me just tell you. Hang on. Come in. Bring her in. Anyone that's ever spoken about, come in. Anyone who's ever heard me talking about Tashi and Mary, here they are, guys. Here's Mary, fat pudge. Okay, there you go. Sorry, guest appearance. Take her out now, darling. Thank you, darling. Okay, that was Tashi with our cat. Well, she's not our cat. Okay, let me just get back onto my train of thought here, guys. Okay, energy is constant. We have 3 types of energy: neutral, positive, and negative, okay? What happens is that energy does not ever diminish or get created. It's always in existence. It only travels through any of those 3 barriers. So negative energy can become positive or neutral and so forth with the others, okay? So what happens is when somebody does things that are good, it causes a ripple within other energy supplies like humans, other humans having their energy. It either creates positive or negative within them because there's an energy shift. So what Mike's referring to is this week I've...
Red pelters.
Here it comes. For anybody who doesn't know... So for anyone who doesn't know, my book, 5 Years in Heaven, is now available on Lulu. Tomorrow, the e-version will also be available. So this is 369 pages, guys. Look how thick it is. You know, it is massive book, okay? You can tell how thick it is, okay, and the size of it. It's like it weighs a kilo. Just letting you know, it weighs a kilo, this book, okay? So what it actually has now created is a ripple in the energies. Haters will hate. Lovers will love. Now, I've had a lot of discussion this week, Mike. Mm-hmm. We're now presently going through the proton belt. Oh. Please Google that, guys, if you don't know what the proton belt is. But the Mayans spoke about the proton belt 2,000 years ago. They knew that we were going to enter into this age of enlightenment. Because what this proton belt is, it is highly charged energy. So those with negative energy will be amplified. I've been getting attacked. I'll just go there. About 6 people this week have attacked me, not just in Facebook groups, okay? So haters will hate. Those who are kind, generous, and loving, those characteristics will also be amplified. So there'll be more giving, more loving. So take it as a little note to yourself, guys, anyone watching. Have you been angry this past week or the last 2 weeks, because that's how long this proton belt's been going for? Are you showing more love to others? Because this is a demonstration of who our true self is. If you're a nasty, you will be doing nasty stuff. You'll be abusing people for no reason. You'll be accusing, judging them. But if you are a loving person, which I hope that all our viewers are, Mike, you know, and that's where I'm a little bit dismayed. That's the word I'll use, dismayed, because I am in a certain Facebook group where these people are all supposed to be enlightened.
NDE,
and the haters are coming out, and these are people who are supposed to have had this opportunity to experience the greatness of heaven. I don't want to give away what the group is, okay?
No.
But they're all supposed to be acting in accordance with love. And look how negative these people are showing themselves, because that's their true self. Yeah. So I just sit back on the fence, laughing and observing the characteristics of people, because this is where you know if your friends are true friends.
Yeah.
This is where you'll know if your boss is a genuine, kind person or is a narcissist type person.
Yeah.
So sit back, guys. Psychoanalyze yourself first, because it all starts with ourselves. Sit back and just say, have I been angry a lot in the last 2 weeks? Perhaps this is an opportunity for me to address that if I don't want that anymore. If I don't want it anymore. Because you've got to remember, when we're in lower vibrations, we love it. We love being angry. We love it because we're feeding off it. And it makes us feel happiness, which is a positive emotion. So it's a false positive, okay?
Yeah.
Like so many COVID tests.
Well, you know, as it was channeled to me, the world is showing us division right now. And you're absolutely correct, 100% this, because the message was also given. This was not the one that I read out yesterday to my live group, but a previous one. That not only is the world showing division, but only truth can be spoken now. As we enter a 5D kind of arrangement, only truth can be spoken. So whether you want to say it or not, it's going to be said. And what do I mean by this? If you dislike somebody for whatever reason, it's going to come out whether you like it or not. And if you love somebody and you're not used to expressing love, it's going to come out whether you like it or not.
And mate, you know, I just want to butt in there, Mike. You've been saying that line for about 2 months now.
Yeah.
The truth will be spoken. Yeah. You've mentioned that before in previous shows. Yeah. Okay? You know, so we didn't know about this proton belt 2 months ago because we only entered into it like a month ago. And you've got to go, you know, you've really got to go delving into stuff to find what it is. And then the other important message that you said is that we're now entering the 5D, which is correct. You know, when you go into the fifth dimension, there are nasties and there are good, you know. I'm pretty sure a lot of nasties are presently in the White House, if you know what I mean.
Dun, dun, dun. Or Downing Street.
Or Buckingham Palace, you know. But there's also a lot of goodness out there as well, and other entities as well, okay. So it depends on what frequency we're at. You know, I got taught during my PhD, the training. One of the modules was about like attracting like. So if you're here on the like a ladder of energy, we've got lower vibrations right up the rungs of the ladder up to the high vibrations. If you're down here near the bottom, you're going to attract in people on your same rung of that ladder. So negative people will always attract negative people. And if you're up here and they're doing their stuff, guess what? Yeah. You're above it. You don't get it. And if you're down here, you won't fathom what these people up here are saying because you're not connected, okay? So, you know, this is where people are reaching out to, there are a lot of people, Mike, reaching out and saying, you know, how do I make myself a better person? Yeah. Well, if you want to be a better person, read my bloody book because in the back it's the teachings of heaven. It tells us about all the negative behaviors and traits that we have. It tells us all the good stuff, you know, all our our self-emotions are in there, self-worth, self-respect, self-love. You know, I don't really like being a negative person, but of course we've got to identify what is negative so then we can use the law of attraction. Yeah. So here it is. I've even got the laws of attraction in there so people can see how we use all the laws of attraction to bring in. And I've even got the my formula of making the law of attraction work. You know, there's a certain book out there I don't like naming, especially when I'm being a little bit comparing, but they only speak of 3 rules. There's 4 rules because they don't want to touch that 4th rule because it's a doozy. And that rule is that we have to look into ourselves and identify who we truly are. People don't want to go to that level. People don't want to do that work, Mike. Yeah. They don't want to sit there and self-analyze and say, holy shivers, I'm a nasty person. They blame others for what they're creating. People will, they look at others to give them comfort, support, love, because they don't know how to make it themselves, and that's a victim. So people will victimize themselves where they have to attract in all these other like-minded people who say, oh, honey, I'm so sorry for you. Let me give you a hug, because they don't know how to create that support network within themselves. So, it's a doozy of a book. It's presently on my website, and I'll make a comment when we go into the first video. Okay. I'll give you my website, guys. If you want to go and buy it, it's $20 on my website, and it's through PayPal. If you want the hard copy, like here, look how thick it is. It's 369 pages. Where I went when I was 5 years in heaven, because that's what it's called, 5 years in heaven. There's one of my pictures in the book, because there's heaps of pictures. What I saw, where I went, who I spoke to, what is reincarnation, life reviews, and life contracts. Then I go into the teachings of heaven. What did I learn up there that I'm now trying is the operative word here. What am I trying to get through to people? Because the day of judgment is very near. I woke up this morning with 5 emails all saying, Linda, what's your prophecy for next year? It's a doozy, guys. Days of judgment are coming for many. And this is our wake-up call. If you want to live heaven on earth, start reassessing your lives. Are you portraying an angel at this point? Are you willing for the angels to work through you? Every week we show videos where people are put into the position where they're acting on the angel's behalf. These are not nasty people, by the way, guys. The angels do not pick a narcissist to go and save someone's life. Think about it. They only pick those who they know will live up to that challenge or that opportunity. I don't like preaching, but hello, I am a reverend. I should start my own damn church at some point.
I think you should.
But people need this wake-up call, Mike.
I'll come and serve your church, Linda.
Well, darling, I really should. I should start a church. My sermons will be great. I've dreamt it so many times because they're giving me messages. Imagine walking into a church and you've got Marky Mark, sorry, get it right. And it's that song, bring on those good vibrations. So you play that song, but then as the sermon starts, you start analysing, what does that mean? Bring on those good vibrations. What is he truly talking about? Then the next week you have Roy Orbiston. Anything you want, you've got it. What does he mean when he's saying anything you want, you've got it? Because we do have it. It's all within us, So, I really should start doing a weekly sermon on YouTube. Comment below, guys, if you think it's a good idea, if you think, you like those ideas of, you play the song and then you analyse the words of that song. So it's raising our vibration at the start and it makes us aware of who we truly want to be if, I don't like that word if because it's always an ultimatum, but, if we wish it through our own free will, if we truly want to be better people where we don't attack, don't abuse, and most of all, don't belittle and put people down. Because at the end of the day, the only person that you're hurting is yourself. The only person that the only person, I want to say this, Mike, the only person that you are cursing is yourself. It's the worst self-harm on the planet is when we don't look after ourselves. So I try to put the word out on how to look after yourself, how to love yourself, and then I get attacked for it. Go figure. But, me, Mike, it all just gets swept away, it doesn't hurt me at all, Hello.
So,
anyway.
Shall we hear what Katerina has to say? It's very hotel-y. this week.
Yes, and yeah, I know. And, oh, yes, I love these ones because I know all these hotels.
Yeah.
Yay. So,
Yeah.
guys, as we're watching this video, we'll put some links in as a comment. If you do want copies of my books, I'll put it in as a comment so you can just click the link and hopefully you want to learn what it's like in heaven. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so let's bring on Katerina, darling.
Here we go.
Hello, my curious friends. I know what you're here for. You're here for the open door, the news that makes you go, brrr, oh, or what the, I can't believe, no, somebody else has to be talking about this. Well, although we're in holiday spirits, I know where you can go check out some real spirits, supposedly. I'm talking about the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. It is said to be the inspiration for Stephen King's classic movie, The Shining. Well, the movie was by Stanley Kubrick. King wrote the story. You know how the rest goes. Red rum. Red rum. Well, anyway, if you go to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, they say that you will see the spirits of the person who founded the hotel, Mr. Stanley Steamer, and his wife. They are rumored to be tickling the ivories, playing with the lights, and walking through the billboard room. Now, the other place that you might see a ghost in the Stanley Hotel is in room 217, where they say a neat freak maid still does your bed. Then there is room 407, where they say the Earl Dunraven will allow you to smell his puffs of cigar smoke. You decide. Is it faulty wiring, or is the real life location even scarier than the movie The Shining? Are you still raring to get your ghoul on? Well, we have another hotel stop for you. The Fairmount Banff Springs Hotel in the Rockies by the Canadian border is where you can see a woman who was reportedly getting married when her dress caught on fire, causing her to fall down the stairs to her death. Now, this sobbing lady has found a way to keep herself entertained in the afterlife by dancing away in the Cascade Ballroom for all to see. There is also a room that has been closed off because a family was reportedly murdered there. That's right, at this hotel, room 873 is locked off from the public because of this tragic murder. But people say that they still see the guests who were killed milling about the hallway in front of the room. Then there's also Sam Cayley, a person who acted as a bellhop at the hotel, who vowed to, upon his death in 1976, he vowed to come back and haunt the hotel forever. And guess what? People have reported seeing a Scottishman in a retro outfit opening and closing the elevator doors for them. If you're in the West End of London, you might want to go to the Longham Hotel. This hotel opened in 1865, and its celebrity guests were none other than George Orwell, Oscar Wilde, and Mark Twain. Now, they might not be there, but you will see, according to some reports, a German prince who jumped to his death at this hotel, and he reportedly shows up in full metal regalia. And there's also a man who shows up in Victorian garb only in the month of October, strangely enough. And the BBC even had a report that Napoleon III has been walking the halls. Now, room 333 might be a lucky number. if that is, you would like to see the place where most ghosts have been hiding. Would you like a sight of fear with your luxury stay? Then look no further than the Queen Mary, a luxury liner that has been docked in the port of California Beach since the 1970s. Now, in the 1930s and 1960s, 2 women reportedly drowned to death and in the swimming pool, and they're now seen just lounging around. I don't know. Can you get a tan if you're on the other side? And then there is also a woman in white who's said to be haunting the Queen's salon, and a gentleman who is dapperly dressed who just walks along the hallways looking to frighten you. Then there is also one room that is reportedly so haunted it had to be sealed off. That is room B340. It was sealed off because of too many paranormal sightings and activity. Are you a ghost snob? That's right. Would you like your chills to come with a bit of cash and cachet? Well, the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood is the place for you then, my dear. It was opened in 1927, and room 229 has said to be haunted by the ghost of Miss Marilyn Monroe. Her image appears in the mirror. And then there's room 928, where Montgomery Clift plays the trumpet. And the 12th floor is there to be enjoyed by yourselves and Miss Carol Lombard and her husband, Clark Gable. Now, the Blossom Ballroom, where it is said that the first Academy Awards were hosted, is the most interesting of all, perhaps. Interesting because it is a whole 10 degrees colder than the rest of the hotel. You heard me. Nobody knows why it's 10 degrees colder than the rest of the hotel. Talk about the red carpet. I wonder why it's red. Until next time. Stay curious, my friends.
I'm still in mode. Oh my gosh. Okay.
You know, we did a story on that one by the Rockies. And if you remember, I think it was the Baldwin actor who stayed there. It was closed because it was for the winter, but they were shooting there. And he heard, I think he heard the girl crying that was killed, and there was the bellhop that come along, and you know, when he turned around,
he picked up his suitcase.
Yeah. And
how did they pick up a suitcase?
Well, I've got to tell you something. How do they do things? Before we go on to our first story, last night we had, on the 21st, we did a big meditation, a healing meditation for the solstice and all the crazy people out there. So we had 21 people on the 21st. Important number, +2 + 1 is 3. And during the day, we did table tipping, and I asked Joan if she would try and manifest a feather into the room during the meditation to inspire people to show that how close spirit is. Well, I forgot about it. We did the meditation, didn't even think of it. And after the meditation, and I read out the channeled message, a young girl who comes to our circle come up to me and said, "Oh, Mike," she said, "I just made it in time to the meditation because one of my students wanted to give me this T-shirt." And she opened it up, and it was a white feather across.
Wow! See, okay. So the message there, guys, is never expect what you ask for.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, when we ask for a feather, you expect to see this doot, 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 doot coming down from the sky.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
Okay?
No, they
will show it like a car will go past with a big feather down painted on the side of the vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, or you'll see a bird that drops a feather, you know, instead of just the feather.
Yeah.
So, you know, as long as you see that feather, That's the main thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I always say to people, you know, ask for something that you don't usually see. You know, like here in Australia, we don't have American currency. So, you know, I tell people here, look, ask for a quarter, you know, of a US 25-cent piece. You know, if you're in Austria or America, ask for an Australian coin, you know, so then you pick it up and you think, wow, that's so rare, especially with COVID where no one can travel. How would this coin possibly get here? But, you know, you may see it on the back of a car. You may see it on the side of a bus. You might see it as a billboard poster where they're advertising something and there's the coin in there. So as long as you do see it, that's the main thing. So you've got to be aware of the messages, you know, to find that message when it's given. Okay. So
let's go
one
on.
thing I do.
Yeah. Carry on. Sorry.
I just want to say, darling, the Queen Mary, when I first started getting into all my paranormal investigations, you know, years and years ago, I used to watch, her name is Yvette Fielding. She does the UK version of Most Haunted.
Right.
I didn't really like the show because they had like 20 people going and there was one girl in there that used to just scream at everything. So it was a real put off to me that, you know, she was screaming over everything. What's that noise? Ah! You know, shush up, lady. I want to hear the noise, you know.
Or get out.
One episode, they actually went on to the Queen Mary.
All right.
And they're walking around the pool, which is now empty, obviously. You know, there's no water in there. And they're hearing all these people talking because it's echoing in there. So as we're hearing all these other people talking, there's wet footprints that come out of the pool.
Dun, dun,
How could you create that? Because the person, if you were creating it, they'd have to be in the pool, wet their feet, and then get out of the pool because the toes are at the one end to the sole of your shoe. So where the edge of the pool was, the toes were pointing outwards in the direction they were walking. So they showed these wet footprints on the ground. And apparently that is one thing that a lot of people do see on the Queen Mary is wet footprints around the pool. There are stories that a woman did drown in that pool. And if you look at the footprints, they're only tiny feet. So it could be a female that died in the pool. You know, there's footage of the people in the hallways. I've seen the photos. I've seen the footage. So, you know, Queen Mary, I know, even though I've never been there, it is a very, very haunted location. The Fairmont Hotel, yes, I've heard of that. Stanley Hotel, hello. Why do you think Stephen King wanted to go there and film The Shining? You know, he had a lot of hotels that he could have gone to. The Overlook, what it was called.
Kubrick knows a lot more about occult and what is going on with governance, let's put it that way. Nothing to do with the moon landings. But he is an insight.
Wasn't he the producer of that?
What, Capricorn 1, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
No, not that movie. I actually thought he was the one out in the desert that they said was the moon landing.
I'm saying nothing. I'm keeping clean. I've got to keep myself out of jail at the moment. So look, listen, let's go on to our first section here.
Yes, please, because we're getting away of ourselves, aren't we, quickly?
Let's look at the haunted doll. Let's
please.
Here we go.
Number 10, the haunted dolly. Here's one that'll rock the boat. On ITV's This Morning, a couple were being interviewed about alleged strange activity surrounding a China doll they'd gotten from a thrift store.
You almost look like Debbie, you don't want to even look at the doll.
No, I don't.
Are you a bit scared?
I don't even want to touch it.
Really?
Yeah.
This included scratches on the husband and sporadic fire alarm bursts. Whilst the hosts were rightly skeptical, viewers were more convinced. They observed the doll start to rock in its chair during the interview, seemingly of its own volition.
Look, that chair's beginning to rock.
Rocking.
Look at that.
Who's doing that? Stop it. Who's doing that?
The doll was on the show again just a few weeks later, but this time with a new owner.
The lady who bought the doll in here originally, who bought it, she said her husband was scratched on his arms and legs.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
So do you believe that this doll has done that?
Yes, I do, because I've been scratched over the past week or 8 days that I've had the doll.
Where have you seen?
On my arm.
It's no surprise the toy changed hands so quickly. We've all seen enough movies to know that keeping possessed dolls around is a big no-no.
So I've got a thought here. It would have been very interesting if they would have had a controlled chair there next to it. So one with the doll on and one without the dolly on, and see what it is, because I don't think it is wind that's done that, because no one mentioned wind, or it's a bit drafty. And
no, and it's in a studio, so there wouldn't be, only the air conditioner. Yeah. And
I don't recall the name of the lady presenter, because I really don't watch TV. She looked pretty scared, actually. Her comments were very controlled, but she was very uneasy with that.
Yes.
So,
over
to you.
My question, which I'm sure a lot of people, as soon as I say it, they're going to say, yeah. If you knew that doll was haunted, why would you buy it? And secondly, why would you be holding it on TV? Yeah. Because did you notice the first lady, she had it on a chair. She wasn't going to touch it. No. Then she sold it, and they're holding it on their lap. I wouldn't be doing that, sorry. I would not have that doll on my lap. No. You know, like the Annabelle doll, I'll be having it in a glass container, thank you very much, where no one can touch it. You know, and see if it moves overnight. You know, maybe throw her some apples every now and again, just in case she's hungry. You know, and see if the head goes around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All righty, but yes. Do I believe that one? Oh, yes, I believe that one, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. I think so.
Well, there was no reason for them to orchestrate that chair moving.
No.
There was no reason.
And this is because this is a major, like Good Morning Australia, that type of thing. So this is a major network thing, and they wouldn't.
They would know. No. They would know. The skeptics are going to be skeptical, and the ghost believers would be the believers. So they don't have to try and manifest something. No. So I reckon that chair moved by itself. You know, rocking chairs are heavy. They don't just start rocking by themselves. No. You know, it was there not moving for a while, and, you know, that would have been set up before the people even came out. Yeah. You know, so I believe that, seriously.
I do.
On live TV as well. Yay!
Okay. The ghost attack.
Next one.
Bit of a naughty one. This bit of a naughty one. But let's have a look. See what you all think.
What you're about to witness on this video can only be described as an assault. A violent, aggressive act committed against these two gentlemen by what appears to be some poltergeist-like entity. If we slow it down, you can see the first point of contact. As the gentleman in front reaches the top step of the descending staircase, he's met with an onslaught of violent blows, being delivered by an attacker he cannot defend himself against. He's immediately taken down and mounted by this entity. He then endures a very brief but very aggressive session of some paranormal ground and pound. He and the other gentleman finally find their feet and sprint away in sheer terror, just as the entity seems to disappear into thin air.
So what's with the shadows there, Linda?
Well, I've seen shadows a lot, Mike. You know, until they identify them or show some sort of facial features or clothing that you can say, oh, that's Granddad. Or, oh, that's a US Marine. Or, oh, that's a guy from Gettysburg, per se, right? But some ghosts are cowards, and obviously that one is a coward, attacking somebody defenseless like that, just walking down a road, walking down a row of stairs, I mean. So why were they attacked? What were those two boys talking about while they were walking down the stairs? What energy were they demonstrating? You know, we can't just say they're victims. They may have been saying, let's go over to that place guy and we're going to beat him up tonight, so that guy's come out to defend. You know, we can't assume without the knowledge of what those two boys were talking about, okay? But I have slowed it down. I have looked at it in the dark, because when you look at footage in the dark, you get a clearer picture of it. And that guy that was attacked, he could have orchestrated that with a shadow over it. He puts his arm up as he's going around the corner. He puts his arm up and then he sort of goes down straight. That is easy to orchestrate.
Right.
But I honestly don't believe it is orchestrated.
Right.
You know, it looks like, you know, you look at the position of the camera, it is right there where it would be. You know, stairwells, you always cover the up and the down.
Yeah.
You don't just have it down and then around a corner. So the camera position is right.
Yeah.
The way he falls and then he's on the ground and moving around, that looks right. The way they run back up the way they came, that looks right. It looks right to me. I'm not saying it's truthful. I don't say it's paranormal definitively.
No.
But, you know, I'd like to know what those guys were talking about and why they got attacked.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it was somebody who didn't like what they said,
Yeah.
you know, or didn't like their energy. Because ghosts, unless you're a really angry ghost, hello, and how many other people have been taken out on that flight of stairs? You know, so that could have been why they set up the camera initially, you know. Oh, a lot of people get attacked there, so let's put a camera there.
I mean,
you don't know.
I noticed here, I'm just going to run it and show you.
Number 10, The Haunted Doll.
Paranormal ground. In front reaches the top step of the descending staircase. He's met with an onslaught of violent blows, being delivered by an attacker he cannot defend himself against. He's immediately taken down and mounted by this entity. He then endures a very brief but very aggressive session of some paranormal ground and pound. He and the other gentlemen finally find their feet and sprint away in sheer terror, just as the entity seems to disappear into thin air.
Interesting one.
Well, you know, shadows don't always take on a persona characteristic, okay? They can come in as any form, like a blob of shadow. You know, sometimes you make out a head, you can make out the shoulders, you can make out arms in the shadows. Sometimes it does just look like a stick just standing there, like in that one. So I'm not going to debunk it just on what the form it takes, Mike.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because it can take, you know, shadows can take on any form.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen shadows that are like 12 foot tall and you think, what the heck? You know, that's one tall person. But because they're trying to make come through as a manifestation to become an apparition, you know, that's where you've really just got to sit there and say, right, you know, it's not in human form because it comes in like a bubble and then it takes its shape, you know. But to attack him, I'm on the fence. I won't say it's real or false, but, you know, there are some things in there that add value to it being paranormal, you know, and I just liked how that camera is positioned where it would show that whole stairwell. You know, I like that. You know, it's not like just in that one spot where they were. You know what I mean? It shows the whole stairwell.
I mean, before we move on, I'm interested in your thoughts because I know how you feel about talking to spirit, and it's important to say, look, you realise you're dead or forcing them into the light. But when we have a situation, let's just say this situation is that these people have done nothing wrong. They're just walking down a flight of stairs and they get, you know, pounded, so to speak, by a very angry poltergeist. So the poltergeist uses physical aggression against, let's say, innocent people.
Yeah.
Is there a case, therefore, because I'll be clear, I feel there is, for exorcism and to get this spirit to move into the light when you're doing...
Well, that's right. Yes. Negative behaviours are always punishable. Let's just say it like that. You know, that's why we have a criminal law processing.
Apparently.
You know, you know, that's why there's punishment in our law systems, okay? if we do things against, especially assaulting someone, like in this case, there is a punishment. So when you've got a ghost, of course, you can go in and, say, hey, your behavior is no longer wanted here. Now is your time to go. Here's the priest. Here's the holy water. Bring them on. But, when I talk about how we shouldn't tell people that they're dead, etc., I'm talking about the 95% of people who are generally nice people. Yeah. The you and me types. Right. The Joes and the Jills out there walking down the street. They're generally nice people who just don't attack people for no reason. Yeah. 95% of us don't do that. So that 95%, they deserve that respect to try and work out why they've passed away. Yeah. But someone like that who's in that context of what you said, where they're just an aggressive nasty, it's time for them to move on. Yeah. Yes. Let them deal with their life review if they get there. If they especially don't go to hell, because they probably would go to a hell scenario.
Hellish place.
But a hellish place, yes. Okay. But, there are ways out of hell. Yeah. I teach this all the time. We've got to realise that we're making a mistake, and then we say sorry and forgive it, and that clears away that energy. And that's why so many people in the hell state, they're in there for eternity, because they're on that guinea pig wheel going round and round, reliving the same instant day after day after day, not realising all they have to do is take a step off and say, oh, heck, I did the wrong thing. Yeah. So they relive it. And this is where I go back to TV shows. Lucifer, that's on Netflix. There's an episode there where a man's on a boat and he just comes out in his boxer shorts into his bedroom and he gets shot by this guy with a mask on. And Lucifer's there, he's acting like the DEVIL. And he says, are you aware this is the 628th time you've just died? Because you're in that hell loop of not realising the mistakes that you've made. So I believe that hell is something that we create in our own perspective based on our past grudges, nastiness, abuse of others, our bad intentions when we deliberately harm others. We do create that hell loop, and that's what I try and teach, Mike, I try and teach it. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so who are we going to next, darling?
Roy Davidson weren't a particularly spiritual person or a prayerful person. Doesn't make him a bad person. But he received spontaneous remission where everything else failed. So due to laying on of hands and healing. Let's have a listen to his story.
When Roy Davidson was only 31, his doctor told him he had the worst case of multiple bleeding ulcers he had ever seen. After a specialist examination, it was clear that surgery was not an option. The ulcers were so severe that removing them would cause extensive damage, and there would always be scar tissue, even if medicine could heal the ulcers.
I just worked with pain. I lived with pain. I slept with pain. I ate with pain. I partied with pain. I swam with pain. Wherever we went, I just had pain. For all those years, it never went away.
Roy quit his stressful corporate job and searched for a simpler life. During this break, he decided to go on a missions trip to Haiti.
And it was while we were there that I had the worst attack of these ulcers. I had the worst problem ever. And when we got down there, one day I couldn't go to work. I couldn't walk. And this was like a knife stabbing pain, an aggravating pain, and a gnawing pain. And I could remember the doctors telling me that if they couldn't control the bleeding, if they couldn't get the ulcers under control, that a condition like that could be fatal. It could kill you.
The men on the missions trip offered to pray for Roy's healing. He declined. Instead, he decided to tough it out.
To be honest with you, I didn't give them enough credit for it. I thought, well, gosh, these are just common guys. How could they heal anybody?
After almost 2 days of intense pain, Roy finally asked the group to pray.
So I can remember laying there and thinking when these guys walked in to pray for me that I can remember saying to God, well, God, now I'm just going to listen to this and just see if I think there's anything to it. And the guy walks in the room with an empty bottle of Mazola oil. And I thought, oh, good grief, This is the crowning insult. They're going to anoint me with cooking oil.
The pastor applied a touch of oil to Roy's forehead. That single action was a turning point in his life.
The whole room started spinning. I started getting real dizzy, and I couldn't see a thing. I could hear them. They were all praying in tongues, and all of a sudden, I saw myself way up, like in the corner of the room, and I'm looking down, and I'm laying on an army cot, and I could see myself. It was like they call those out-of-body experiences.
Roy woke up hours later. The pain was gone.
And I noticed my stomach. It felt funny, but it didn't hurt. And I noticed that I wasn't having any bleeding that day. And I wasn't having any pain, really. It was kind of gone.
Roy's specialist took another look at his stomach. He confirmed that the multiple bleeding ulcers were gone.
I was quite surprised to find that there was nothing there. I mean, it basically looked normal. What I thought was strange, and still do, I really didn't even find some of the scar tissue which had previously been there.
Roy has lived ulcer-free and pain-free for the past 13 years, and he's quick to share his testimony of God's healing power.
God chose to reveal himself to me. I didn't even know what to look for. I wouldn't have known what to look for. You never know when he's going to move or when he's going to do something. So I couldn't talk enough or testify enough about God and what he does or what he can do. And my life has just been a joy ever since.
There you are, another spontaneous remission. It's interesting, isn't it, that this comes to a person who didn't really have that much faith, I don't think, by the sound of it. Still a goodish kind of guy, but very pragmatic, I should think. You know, you live and die, work, eat, that's the cycle of life. And it was also interesting that he didn't know who to pray to. But the interesting thing is, as we were discussing last night, maybe you don't even have to know. You just got to ask, trust, and let go.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, I personally have this woman with me. You know, I openly say she must be with me all my life, even though, it may have been years between our interactions. But now that I've accepted who she is, without knowing who she is, she's with me constantly. Yeah. And, people say to me all the time, who is she? I have no idea. I don't even know her name, because whenever I ask her name, she says, my name does not matter, for we are all. Hang on, who's we? Who's we?
Yeah.
So I just trust, because she's given me so much good information over the years. I believe her because I've seen her, so thank goodness she has manifested, so I see her with my own physical eyes. So I trust her, I believe her, and she's given me so many confirmations where it's proven what she's told me, And like this guy, Roy Davidson, when I had my car accident when I was 20, it was 3 days later that I went to the hospital because I got paralysed at the post office where I worked, and I had to get taken over to the hospital. And they said, you won't ever walk again. You're going to be a quadriplegic because you've got a broken neck. That night, she appeared and cured me. I've still got my broken neck because it was confirmed 2 years ago when I got this car accident where a lady ran up my behind, and the guy even said to me, how are you walking, because you're a quadriplegic? This is an x-ray of a quadriplegic. Yeah. And so I just laughed at him and I said, well, do you really want to know? And I said, mate, when this happened when I was 20, I was only in hospital for one night because she told me to get up and walk out. And the next morning I did. I woke up, no pain, got out of bed, went out to the nurse's station, and they dropped, oh my God, what are you doing out of bed? And I went home.
Yeah.
How does this stuff work?
Yeah.
We don't have to know how it works. Yeah. All we have to do is be grateful that it does.
Yeah.
And then the next question that I get asked a lot, why me and not that guy across the road?
Yeah.
Why was it me and not that person who deserved it more than me? We don't know what our life paths are. We don't know what our life lessons are.
No.
So And we don't know why hurtful and painful things happen to others because that's their life path.
Yeah.
They're only here to experience what they do as part of that contract that they've made before their birth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I have to listen to my own words there, Mike. You know what I'm talking about here, what we've discussed off air.
Yeah.
You know, people that are taken away too early. Animals that are taken away too early.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's their path. It's their life. We don't have to judge and say, oh, my God, you know, blah, blah, blah. We don't know what would have happened to that person in 5 years. They could have been in an accident where they're in excruciating pain for the next 20 years before they ultimately pass.
Yeah.
So they were saved that by the grace of God. You know, we can't judge what happens to other people.
No.
You know, all we can do is just try and make our own life better for those others.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so, you know, that was an amazing story that Roy said. You know, I loved it. You know, there was a lot of, I resonated with a lot of what he said, you know, because of my own experiences with my broken neck, you know, and other injuries that I've had. You know, I had a brain tumour. I don't have a brain tumour now because they cured it. And is it because of my trust in them or is it their trust in me? That's imperative here. Is it that they trust that I'm going to say something at some point? You know, someone said to me the other day, they said, why in the hell am I here for? I don't know. And I said, well, because whatever you're here for hasn't happened yet.
No.
You know, you're only 30 years old now. Imagine in 60 years' time, you're in a retirement home and the nurse comes in, she's upset, and you're the one who gives her that solitude.
Yeah.
That is maybe why you are here. And you had to go through that 90 years to get to that point where you gave somebody else a lesson of how to be. So, you know, we can't ask why we're here. We can't ask when am I going to get this call in? Why aren't the angels answering me? You know, the other thing I just want to add, guardian angels and spirit guides, don't worry if they're not communicating with you guys, because that means that you're on your path. It means that they don't need to contact you to say, hey, go that way instead.
Yeah.
They're allowing you to do what you're doing because that's your God-given right as part of your contract.
Yeah.
So they don't need to interfere with it.
No.
So just allow your life to be. And if they're not talking to you, actually take it as a good thing. It's a good thing when they don't talk to us, okay?
Yeah.
Because then it shows that they're not needed at that point in our lives.
And talking of life contracts, if you haven't seen it, everyone, please do watch The Abduction Bureau, I think it's called, with Matt Damon. And it's is it Abduction Bureau or the something Bureau?
No,
Adjustment Bureau. Adjustment
the
Bureau.
Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really quite brilliant because it talks about the angels. Well, they portray them as a little bit dark, but watching them and if they go there or they meet that girl, that takes them off their life path, and so they do things.
That's right. Yes, because Matt Damon was supposed to be the president.
Yeah.
And he met that woman, and if he stayed with her, he would never become the president.
Yeah.
You know, so they had to keep trying to break him up.
Yeah.
So he would stay on that path of becoming the president.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I must watch that again, actually.
Yeah,
but anyway,
makes me want to watch it again because it's a good movie.
Listen.
Alrighty, so where are we going to now, darling?
Let's just watch dear old Dr Fritz, psychic surgeon. This isn't gruesome at all, like the one we showed about 6 months ago.
Yeah, no, this one's all right to watch, guys. This is a good one.
Yeah.
There is a line, I've already written it down. You know, it may be one of my new quotes. Let's see if you know what the quote is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. In a quiet neighborhood, a woman named Andrea is in deep pain.
Can't stand it anymore. Can't stand it.
She has suffered from severe, debilitating migraine headaches since she was 13 years old. Traditional treatments have failed to help her. Her longtime friend, Phyllis, has watched her suffer since childhood.
And I know she's tried every type of traditional medicine. Nothing has ever worked.
But in a country steeped in religion and mysticism, there may be an alternative, a miraculous alternative. Today, Andrea and Phyllis will meet Brazil's most famous healer, Dr. Fritz. Dr. Fritz was a German physician who worked in a field hospital during World War I. He died in 1916, but since that time, his spirit has been channeled in Brazil by at least 5 healers. Dr. Gilda Moura is a researcher and clinical psychologist. For the past 5 years, she has studied these unexplainable healings in Brazil.
There's a series of people that claim being receiving or being possessed by the same spirit, Dr. Fritz.
This man is the latest host of The Spirit of Dr. Fritz, Ruben Faria. This unassuming man is no doctor. He has absolutely no medical training. But when he becomes possessed with the soul of Dr. Fritz, he's transformed into an internationally renowned healer. What you are seeing is Ruben Faria receiving the soul as well as the medical abilities of Dr. Fritz. As many as 800 people a day come to be cured in an old meeting hall located in a rundown Rio suburb.
There will be many more tumors, sore throats, and headaches. You'll see, curing them is easy. What is more difficult is awakening the head and heart, giving people faith for the rest of their lives. That's my real mission, to help others find themselves.
Some require only a few minutes of his time. Others require delicate surgery done on the spot. Dr. Fritz performs operations without anesthetic, using medical techniques that date back to the turn of the century.
In the Fritz phenomenon and the paranormal healers, spiritual healers in Brazil, we observe the same. It's very interesting because the way they do the scars and the way they sew it, it's the old way to do it. It's not the modern way.
Sometimes he injects his patients with what should be a lethal mix of alcohol, iodine, and turpentine. Somehow his patients feel no pain.
I feel it, of course. I feel him doing the cutting and hammering with the knife. Can you see that? It's just that it doesn't hurt.
So far, science cannot explain the miracle of Dr. Fritz, but perhaps spirituality can.
We did a test before trance and after trance. And it's a different state of the mind, a different state of consciousness.
You don't awaken anything in a person that they don't already feel in their own body. This is what alternative medicine really is. Now I'm at peace. This man, he has blessed hands.
When Andrea and Phyllis arrive at Dr. Fritz, there is already a long line. Many people have been waiting for hours. On this day, like on most, there are no unhappy patients.
No problem. Perfeito.
Now it is Andrea's turn. She won't require any surgery, but she is still nervous.
I don't think I can live.
After a last-minute hesitation, Andrea follows Dr. Fritz to his work area. The procedure is quick and painless.
I'm in awe. I didn't feel a thing. Yeah, there was something very protective about him. I mean, there's something he makes you feel good. I mean, he told me to thank God. He says, if you don't feel any pain, thank God for that. And I said, no, I'll thank you. And he says, no, thank God, I don't have anything to do with it. That's what he said to me. And it felt very positive. I mean, it was a positive feeling, good vibes, if you will.
For Andrea and thousands like her, the miraculous healing powers of Dr. Fritz, as channeled through the body of Ruben Faria, have provided the relief that modern medicine hasn't.
When you come out here and you see it, it's very hard to remain cynical about it. And he has something. He has something unexplainable, but he has it. And it's working.
You know what? I deliberately left it out of this segment, but I've got him with a cutter where they do open heart surgery and they've got to cut the ribs. So they've got this machine, and there he is on the back, and he's going zzz. But the interesting thing,
when you say things like that, Mike, can you say go get a bucket?
Okay.
Oh my God.
But you know,
sorry.
There was no blood while he was doing this. No blood, nothing, and there should be tons of it. But
yeah,
you know, hopefully this man doesn't following the footsteps of John of God, who is banged up in prison now for all kinds of crazy goings on. But what a beautiful soul. I can just imagine if he was in Europe, he would be closed down almost instantly for the work he was doing.
He wouldn't exist in Australia either. You know? Yeah. Wow, they'd do something here with him. So let's just get this back on point with lifting us up. Yeah. The comment where she says, "Oh, we're just off to see Dr. Fritz. Yeah. Don't worry, he's only been dead a couple of years," or whatever that line was. Yeah. He only died a few years ago. Yeah. You know, and she said it so nonchalantly. Yeah. "Oh, yeah, we're just going off to see this doctor." Yeah. "Oh, don't mother that he died a few years ago." Yeah. You know, and this just makes me wonder. You know, this man that's now doing this work, obviously he's channeling. When was that moment? What happened? Yeah. What did he experience? Yeah. Where he said, "Oh my God, I've got this person now coming through me and he's a surgeon." Mm. You know, those moments, occurrences or events or whatever you want to call them. But, you know, he would have been just sitting at home, probably doing his washing up after he just cooked himself dinner, la-da-da-da-da. And then, boom, this thing came out of him, you know, and said, "Oh, I want to work through you," you know. Yeah. Did he have foresight that this was going to happen? Obviously not. You know, no one says, "Oh, yes, in 2 years I'm going to be possessed by this dead doctor and I'm going to be able to perform surgeries." Yeah. You know, we don't have that ever. So, you know, we don't know what our lives are, guys. You know, I think that's a big message for tonight. We don't know what our lives are. So just take it as a day at a time and just trust that we're on the path. You know, we're all here for a reason with all this stuff going on. So just trust it. Yeah. You know, we don't know what our lessons are.
Although, you know, Linda, I'm not sure I like the way they say possessed with the spirit of. I mean...
I know.
You know,
because it's more channeling. Yeah, because it's, you know, he's obviously doing their work. You know, I personally don't allow anything to go through me, you know, like in Ghost, where Patrick Swayze asks, what's her name, Whoopi Goldberg, if he can use her body. Mm-hmm. I don't personally allow that myself. Right. You know, I don't like losing that control over my own body. So, you know, I think that's why she just stands off a few feet away from me and she just talks and I just listen, you know, and I sometimes repeat what she says. Yeah. So she respects that in me, you know, because that does come down to free will, you know. So obviously this guy has given away his free will to say, yes, I give you consent to come through me and help people, you know, and I give him every credit for him because he's doing such amazing work, you know. It sounds like he has any multitude of conditions that come. He's not a specialist of just this type scenario. So, you know, he's doing valuable work. Yeah. You know, I would actually love to just go there and not to be healed for him for anything, but to just observe and to feel that energy that is coming through when he channels, you know, to bear witness, you know, bear witness to what he does. That's what I'd like.
I mean, before we just move on to our angel segment, Melinda asks if it's in their contract, won't the physical injuries come back again? Good question. I wouldn't know how to answer that, to be honest.
Okay. Many times when people go to healers, the injuries do come back, okay? That is proven, okay? You know, people that are in wheelchairs, they go to these healers, they get cured, and then 3 weeks later they're back in their wheelchair because it comes down to the faith that it works. It's like a spell, okay, if you want to call it a spell, because I'm not a spellcaster, but it's what we manifest. So if we manifest ourselves to be healthy, you know, why hasn't my broken neck made me a quadriplegic? Because it could at any point. Yeah. You know, there's days I wake up and I think, oh, my God, can I move? Because my neck is like really sore. That's an understatement, by the way, because some days I wake up and it's like, oh, my God, can I move? Yeah. So why aren't I in a wheelchair? We all have a life contract. And how do we know that the life contract of these people isn't to go to get healed, to spread that hope to others?
Yeah, it's a vast
There's so many questions, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, why some and why not others? You know, there's many people that go to the healers and they don't get healed.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's not in their life contract, obviously.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've gone there shows that they are demonstrating some sort of belief in something that we can't see with our five senses. You know, we can't sense it. Yeah, so that's a good question, Melinda, you know. While she's here, I just wish to add, Mike, Melinda has just accepted to become a moderator in my group, Dr. Linda Kramer Paranormal on Facebook. So thank you so much, Melinda. You know, I just want to say congratulations. You know, we've known you now for about a year. Your input is amazing. I know some of your personal struggles that you're going through with your family, friends, etc. So, you know, your commitment to come on and watch our shows, to be active in my group, etc. It is an honour that you actually agreed to taking on that part of being a moderator, okay? So well done to Melinda.
Super.
Love you, love you.
I should have had my audio claps out, but I haven't got that.
Yeah, no, it's all good, darling.
But anyway,
yeah. So look, good on you, Melinda.
We're running out of time as we always do.
Yes, we are.
Let's
We've
just
still
have
got two to look at.
a quick look at Kevin Zadiah, the agenda of angels. He was told about his work with angels and what their work is with us. A very interesting story, actually. So let's go over and have a quick look at that. And then we got our final segment, Elaine Thorpe. But anyway, let's have a look at this one.
I was taught that we need to start to recognize the fact that we have been assigned angels that have read our books in heaven, according to Psalms 139. So this process of them reading the books becomes the agenda of angels, which is the agenda of God. And so this agenda of angels comes down and they make the agenda of angels, which is the agenda of God, our agenda. And that's their goal, is to cause us to do our books. They help us. They assist us. So there's this mindset that has to happen. And the Lord said to me, if this does not happen, this next move of God will not be what He intended.
Tell me about the first angel you ever encountered.
Well, Sid, I feel that people talk too much about the devil. So they talk about all the things that the devil's doing to them. But if you talk like one instance where an angel comes into your room like it did for me on this first time, and I was just praying, I was just being a nice Christian, praying in tongues, pacing back and forth, and all of a sudden something shifted in my room, and when I looked, the door had swung open in my dorm room. And whatever came in there, he was huge. I couldn't see in the dark until he got close to me, but he must have been 10 feet tall, and it looked like he weighed 800 pounds. He was in full Roman armor, centurion armor that you can look up. So he walked over to me. I had fallen and I couldn't even move. The holiness of God was just pulsating from him. He grabbed me, picked me up, and he said, I've been sent from the presence of the Lord to tell you and to warn you that you must set yourself apart. You must come out from among everyone and set yourself apart for the next 6 months. And he instructed me. He said, now there are people that are going to actually be judged by God that are around you right now, and you are not to be their friends anymore. And he showed me who they were, and there was a whole group of them. And I said, I didn't suspect any of this. So he told me, he said, now you're going to set yourself apart and you're going to see God because you're called and the Lord has plans for you and you must do this. And all of a sudden he stopped and I said, continue. And he said, he went like that and he was listening in his ear and the Holy Spirit was speaking to him. And he said, I've been called to another place. Go to the prayer chapel and the Holy Spirit will finish my message. And I said, well, you're right here. Just go ahead and finish it. And he said, he got upset with me. He said, I said, go and pray, and the Holy Spirit will finish it. And he turned, and he started to run down the hallway and disappeared into the air. I was at work, and I just checked into the hotel. And when I went up to my room, I just told my crew, I'll meet you for dinner. So we did that. When I came back, I did not expect this. but when I opened my door to my room, the power of God was so strong. Can you imagine having the power of God in your room stronger than any church service you've ever encountered? And there's nobody in there, I thought, until I heard the door shut and I turned to my right, and there in the corner were 6 angels standing there smiling, and they looked like they were excited to talk with me. And these didn't have wings. They didn't have, your standard. They were just robed individuals. There were 6 of them. And they said, we've been waiting for you to come. We heard you were coming. We're so excited. He says, because you get it. And I said, I get it? He goes, yeah. He says, you operate in the Spirit as though we're real. And angels love it when people treat us as though we're real and we're fellow servants. I'll just tell you, they handed me my books that I haven't even written yet. They handed them through a veil, and they said, these are from the Father God. These are given to you, and they are not to be touched by any other man because they are sacred. So don't let anyone edit out anything that the Father God gives you to write, because the people need to hear these things. I said, can you guys come with me? And they said, oh, no, we can't because we're assigned to the Pentagon.
Now, this room you were in was right across the street, like from the Pentagon.
Yeah, you could see the Pentagon through my window. And I said, you work at the Pentagon? They said, yeah, those people over there, they think they're running this country, but we really That's what they said. They said, we're there.
I haven't seen that on Fox or CNN lately.
And I said, oh, people aren't going to believe this at all. I thought, oh, so for a while I never told anybody. But they said the importance is that this country must stay with its foundation, which is God.
So that kind of answers your question, Melinda. The politicians are getting it. One day their heart might be opened up to receive it. But yeah, a fascinating story, Linda. Another angelic encounter from an ordinary guy who thinks he's a good Christian. I don't mean that sarcastically, because most people think they're good Christians when in fact they're not. But he I
know a few.
he seems just a regular prayerful guy, and he had this experience. I'd imagine life contract. Would you? This is what he's come here to do?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. We look at when angels do interact with us, Mike, when we're not on our path.
Yeah.
So, when they push and they push and they push sometimes, that's probably why she's shown herself to me so many times through my life, because I should have just stood up. Like now I'm standing in my truth. Hello, it only took me 55 years to do it. But, in hindsight, things that happened to me as a teenager in my 20s, I should have stood up and just said, hey, I'm not the normal one.
Yeah.
I'm telling my truth, But I was getting attacked left, right and centre for my whole life from the non-believers and the naysayers, etc. I'm talking here about schools, home life, friends, work, co-workers, etc. Because there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be those people who just do not want to believe what you say, because that's an issue they have with themselves. Only if I had this wisdom 30, 40, 50 years ago, where I could have stood up and said, the only reason why you say these things is it's because your issue and not mine, I wish I had that strength growing up to say that to, even people at work and stuff who criticise me and stuff. But, for him to come out, he's not a young guy himself. I don't think he's as old as you and I are. Right. I'm trying to give you a compliment. But, he's now worked it out that this is what he's got to go out and talk about.
Yeah.
And it's standing in your truth. You're doing it, Mike. Yeah. I'm doing it myself. We've got to stand. And that's what this energy right now, I don't know if it's the proton belt. Please Google what is the proton belt. The Mayans were talking about this 2,000 years ago, by the way. Look at it as 5G, 5D. I mean, not 5G, gosh. That won't help. 5-dimensional interactions that we're having. You know, every week I get emails every week, Mike, from people who say, oh, my God, you know, I'm now 70. I just saw my first ghost. What's going on? I've never seen a ghost before. Is this a ghost? What is it? So there are people now waking up. They're without their intentional purpose coming into it, where they're saying, give me this power. They're just starting to get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming through naturally for them. So, you know, I firmly do believe that it is the proton belt energizing everybody. You know, so it is. I think it is important coming up to Christmas, especially because this will be our last show before Christmas, I think.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, just watch how you interact with your friends and family at this time.
Yeah.
Observe them and say to yourself, what is it that they are doing? For I am merely a reflection of that.
Yeah.
You know, if you are hanging around with people who gossip all day, you're going to reflect that and start gossiping about people too.
Of course.
So, you know, I always say this is the best time of year to work out who your friends are. You know, New Year resolutions. We all make promises of what we're going to do. How many promises do we make about what we personally are going to do?
Yeah.
This year I'm going to get a better job. This year I'm going to upgrade my car and my washing machine. This year I want to earn $1 million. That's all trivial stuff. But how about we say to ourselves, you know what? This year I'm going to make that effort and work on me.
Yeah.
How often do people say that as a New Year's resolution? This year I am going to be more kind. This year I'm not going to gossip. This year I'm going to eliminate all those people in my life who do that. This year I don't want... So have I.
Done
I did
that.
it about 4 years ago. You know, I've done it too, darling, you know. When I had those 8 friends and miraculously they all disappeared within 2 weeks. I didn't even force the hand, you know. They all just left me. And look at the friends now that I've got, you know, the new friends that have come in since that time where these people are just so loving, kind and generous people, supportive, understanding, compassionate. You know, they're gifts. These people that I have now in my life here in Australia, they're gifts to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's not just the ones that I see in physical form. It's the ones that I've now met on Facebook, YouTube, etc., like yourself.
Yeah.
You know, what a dear friend you have turned into. You know, the people that are in my group that I comment on me in YouTube, etc. You know, I am honoured every single day of the fact that I'm now connecting with other people on the same sort of wavelength after eliminating all that negative KRAP from my past, you know. So, you know, guys, if you are sitting there and you're thinking, oh, my gosh, what's my New Year resolution going to be? Have a look into yourself and say, what sort of person am I? Do I like doing these behaviours? Do I like creating drama, gossip, etc.? Do I want to change my behaviours? Because next year, you know, I only hint about it. I don't like saying it because it's pretty scary. But next year, you think this year's been bad? Wait. You know, there's a lot of psychics who are seeing it. You know, food shortages is just the start of it. So, you know, if you are listening, you're obviously somebody who wants to grow and learn. So start considering, you know, can you have you got enough in your cupboard to survive for a couple of months if we do go short of food? You know, here in Australia, it's probably going to be eventual. You know, it's pretty inevitable, I should say, because the trucks are about to stop. There's, you know, distribution centres are already saying find another job because there's going to be no food in 2 months. So it is pretty inevitable here in Australia that we're going to have food shortages. Don't know how long for. Could be a week, could be a month, could be a year.
Well,
Seriously.
you're just coming into summer there now, so it's an opportunity.
What do you mean coming into? Yesterday we had 100 Fahrenheit here yesterday. That's about 38 Celsius.
Perfect.
That was our day. Yeah,
So-
I've only when we just did that last video, I actually went out and turned off the AC,
Right.
and that's at 8:15 in the evening. I've just turned off the AC because that's how hot it still is in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, There's no going into summer. We're in summer, Mike.
Well, the two things here. Melinda said work on your veggie patch. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
You know what,
absolute.
guys? I found better than veggies is hydroponics. I grow 4 lettuce in one bucket, whereas, you need a lot more space with its veggies, and it grows a lot quicker doing hydroponics. So do a quick YouTube search for hydroponics, the Kratky method. It's the most simplest and easiest way.
Hang on. Hydroponics, and what was that method?
Kratky.
How do you spell that?
Kraky. Kraty. No, Kraty. Something like that. Cracky. Krakty. Krakty. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hydroponics actually isn't expensive at all, Melinda. It's very, very economical.
Is it electric, or can you just leave it outside?
No. In your time of year, you can leave it outside. It's just I use 3 organic components in a bucket of water. I have a 5-litre bucket of water, and you put the seedling in coconut, and then you put the nutrients in the water, and that's it. You leave it. And from seed to a lettuce about this big can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. It's brilliant.
Wow.
And if everybody does a little bit of getting together and sharing, then you'll have plenty of food. Of course, the other thing is start sun gazing, because in the very least, your desire for food and food intake will reduce dramatically after you reach 15 minutes. So if anyone wants to know about that, and also you get tons of vitamin D, but you have to do it at sunrise up to the first hour, or sunset from the last hour down, and there's no UV rays and your eyes don't get hurt. So that's my little bit.
Good on you, Mikey.
Yeah.
Love you, darling.
Just drop me a line if you just want any information. But we better get on to our last segment.
Yeah, we better get on to the last one, darling. Elaine Thorpe.
We've seen a bit of her before. She is a brilliant trance medium. And one of the reasons I'm showing this is because if anyone's interested, she does a weekly session with the spirit who she goes into trance with, called Jonathan. And she only has 10 people on Zoom, and it only costs about £10. Don't know what that is in dollars, but it costs about £10. And Jonathan channels information, and you all get to ask Jonathan questions.
Yep. So just to convert, pounds to Australian dollar is about double. So if it's £10, that's about $20.
Right.
And US, it's about another half. So it'd be about, hang on. No, 20
US dollars.
It's about $15 US.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about $15 US. Damn, mate, I might even think about doing that.
She only has 10 people on the Zoom meeting, and you got to go on her email list. And soon as she announces the next session, you better click and prepay your £10, because they go very, very quick, and you will see why.
So can you find a link and put it in the comments?
Yeah.
That'd be lovely, Dale, because I might even consider that.
Yeah.
You know, what a great birthday present or something for somebody, you know?
Yeah.
Here you go. You're going to go and have a chat with this woman on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
when you see her, the voice has completely changed. The mannerisms have completely changed.
Yeah.
And she is, to my knowledge, one of the best trance mediums ever. So let's have a look at her.
Let's have a look at her.
Jonathan, actually, more to the point. So
that's right, Jonathan.
Here we go.
We shall begin. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jonathan.
It is nice to be with you again.
And you too?
Yes, it is nice to have somebody to chat to as well. Including all of the people that are watching, or going to be watching, shall we say.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you could, if you could say anything that might help people that need a bit of extra motivation today.
Motivation. This is something that is a mindset, isn't it? Everything that you do every day is a mindset. And how you plan to get out of your bed in the morning and what you're going to be feeling like when you get up. But some people have motivation some days and not others. But that is fine. You don't have to always be running and jumping about and feeling joyous every day, but it would be nice if you could. But the motivation is to say, use your mind to motivate yourself, not so much your body, but look after your body in the way of exercise, yes. But I would say motivate your mind, because the mind is the most important thing that you will use. It controls the whole of the body. And I will give you an example. I would say, well, that person wishes to be successful in their business or in life. Well, the reason why these people, these entrepreneurs and artists and what have you, whoever is successful in life, is because they set an intention to start with that they would see an end result of what they would be doing. They see it as a successful end result. And then they set about making it happen. That the universe is part of all of that. Simply because you are part of the universe, you are living in amongst the universe, you are part of it. So you are existing within it and being part of it. So if you put your mind to the universe and connect it to your emotions as well as your mindset, then you will find that the universe will listen. Thoughts then become reality. So I would say, rather than getting out of bed in the morning and thinking, well, I'm not going to be doing anything today, I have no motivation for life whatsoever, I cannot be bothered. Well, that is what you will do, isn't it? Because the universe will listen to you and say, well, nothing wants to be done, it won't be done. So if you wish to be successful in life, motivate your mind and visualize. Visualization is a wonderful thing. If you visualize what you want, it's going to be. We are consciousness in spirit. You are consciousness in a physical. So if you use the consciousness within and visualize it, we can do the same in spirit, but it will be present in front of us straight away. And if we no longer require it, it will dissipate, because it will become something that we do not need. We do not need or want in spirit. We just know that we can have it there in front of us if we wish to think about it. So it can become present. But it is not present as a physical, it is only ever present as a thought. Whereas in the physical realm, you need things that are present in front of you. So you use your mindset to get them there.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. I think we'll end it there.
You are most welcome, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come back to the subject again sometime. It is an interesting subject, especially in this day and age.
Yes. I thank you all, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you.
Interesting.
Isn't it, darling?
Yeah. And you know, the good news is, I think, for you guys on your side of the pond, I think she does it at a time where you can actually join in without it being 3 o'clock in the morning. So I think she does it at some late time in the UK, which is okay for you guys. I think because I had a look at this before I put it up, considering you know, you guys, your side of the pond. So I think you'll be okay. You'll be able to join in, but you got to get in quick with her because those spots get zapped up, as you can imagine, straight away. Yeah. Okay. I've got a couple of lines which I think will be important in our closing statements before we end the show, Mike. I love it how Jonathan says, motivate your mind and visualize what you want. You know, this stems true from what I learned in heaven when I was up there. We don't have to work for anything, you know. We don't have to go and make dinner because we don't eat. Whatever we want, it is instantly there as soon as we think about it. If I want to change my dress from this florally thing into a bright red dress, it's instant. I don't have to physically take off one and put on the other. So what he said, motivate your mind. How awesome are those 3 words? Motivate your mind to be what you want to be. Create within you your future, and you create it now in the present. You are, he said, you are unconscious. Sorry, you are consciousness in the physical. Yeah. You know, when I went home, one of the big things with that resonates, you are consciousness. Our thoughts is energy. It is eternal. It is everything. Everything is one. And he went on a little bit about that connection. But, you know, guys, you know, it's coming up to Christmas. I only hope the best and light and love of everything for everybody, you know. But the best presents that we can ever give each other don't cost a cent. Because generally, how can we put a price on emotions? This is the silly season. People are going into crazy, crazy, crazy depths of depression, anxiety, stress. And it's only based on expectations and obligations that we feel compelled to do towards others. So don't take this as a occurrence where we have to yield or allow others to control us, because that's basically what it's all about, control. Stand up for yourself and say, you know what? I don't want to do what you're trying to force on me. And that's okay, because as soon as we take our self-empowerment, and those are big words, self-empowerment, once we start realizing that we control our own lives and our own destiny, then that is when you can start saying, well, what is it that I do want in my future that I didn't have in the past? Because stress and anxiety, I won't say anxiety because that's based on controlling future events, but depression and stress is based on past events where we have a grudge or regret that we didn't do what we thought we had to do. So don't worry about the past. We can't change it. Just allow yourself to be present now and stand in that consciousness. And remember to motivate your mind to make your future what it is that you do want to be. Okay, guys? Perfectly.
Well, darling, I'm trying. I'm trying. Yeah, I try every day, Mike, you know, and I do like it when I come out with these little gems of wisdom every now and again. You know, I should just write them all down, just do a quote book. I don't know. You know, I'd have to go back through every episode that we've ever watched and say, oh, there's the gem, put that in the book. But, you know, you've come out with some great ones as well, you know.
Well, you know, I'm sorry, I mentioned it once before, but there is a great book by Kimberly someone, and it is a book of quotes, but each page has a different quote, and it always starts off with, when I loved myself enough, and then, you know, I let go of everything that didn't serve me, or when I loved myself enough, I understood the beauty within me. But and it's very inspirational. It's only a little book, but yeah, you read a new quote every day. Lovely.
Every day. That's right. You know, just to motivate our mind, as Jonathan just said in that video. You know, So, guys, I do hope that you all have the next week is safe and calm and peaceful for you.
Right.
You know, peace comes when we truly look after ourselves on the inside.
Yeah.
You know, if you have that gut feeling of thinking, oh, God, I don't want to see that person, or, oh, my God, I've just been invited to that place I don't want to go, there is nothing wrong with saying, sorry, but I'm not going. Okay?
Yeah.
I've got to look after myself. You know, there is no problem with that at all, guys, because that means that we are looking after ourselves first. Who's the most important person in the room? It's always us, ourselves, me. And Mike just went and got his fluff ball. Hello, gorgeous. Wow. Oh, God, look at that face.
This is the
professor.
My gosh. This is the professor. There you go. Wasn't amused by being picked up.
Well, mate, neither's Mary. You know, guys, if you missed the beginning, it's worth to go back because, you know, I always talk about my daughter and my cat. Well, it's not my cat. But, yeah, Tashi came in with Mary at the beginning, so go back and watch the first 2 minutes because Tashi comes in with Mary. So you can see what my cat, well, it's not my cat, but you can see the cat who owns me looks like. Oh, God.
Okay, everyone. I've got a dash, as I always have to dash.
So have I.
Yeah.
Dasher, Prancer,
so
Vixen.
Before next show, I might just put up, if I get a chance, a series of all little clips that we've shown, all the stories that we've shown, all inspirational, and just keep it flowing, keep everything going. There'll all be the angel stories, the NDEs, and all the inspirational stuff. I might be around to comment. Bye-bye, Melinda. I might be around to comment, but if not, I'll just put them up for you to watch. You can come in and out and see what you fancy. So. And
Mike, are we here next Wednesday?
I believe so.
I'm here next Wednesday.
Then I'm here.
So there you go. Yeah. We'll be here next Wednesday, guys. So from Australia, where it's sweltering, it's hot here, Mike.
From Austria, where it's cold, but
and anywhere in between.
Yeah.
Have a great morning. Oh my God. Well, it's dark here now, but it's still hot. You know, I've only just turned off the air conditioner, so that tells you something. So, guys, have a lovely evening, good morning, or good night, wherever you are. Stay safe in this silly season coming up. You know, look after yourselves, love yourself, and that will emit into everyone else around you. Yeah. Okay? Yep. So we'll talk to you all again next week. Oh, comes from here. Of course it does. Comes from here. Okay.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.